So we had that anthology, all these writers getting published in the United States. Then Brian Hades appeared on the scene with his publishing company Edge that bought Tesseracts and now has published well over 100 different titles in this country. It's a significant small press by anybody's standards in terms of the volume of books that they put out. Then we saw publishers left, right, and center starting to emerge. Probably the most celebrated internationally of late has been Cheesy Press, Chiaroscuro Press, with their wonderful, wonderful works that are, yes, well deserving of the applause that Dwight was giving them. And on the ballot for, yet again, the special award, the World Fantasy Convention ballot, Brett and Sandra are on the ballot again this year for we recognize for the work that they've done there. We've also seen a variety of other small presses emerge. I won't enumerate them all, but of course it was Glendoran Press, founded by Virginia O'Dine and Dominic McGuire in Prince George, British Columbia, acquired last year by Hayden Trenholm here in Ottawa, which has done a wonderful selection of books. In other words, there's a vigorous book publishing industry. We're not just being published in the States, we're also being published in Canada. Penguin Canada publishes me separately from my American publisher. Penguin Canada publishes Guy Gavriel Kay separately from his American publisher. Penguin Canada publishes Charles de Molint separately from his American publisher. So we have actually writers who have won the major international awards and are published throughout the world now also can have there are small presses vigorously publishing in this country, and at least one of our biggest presses, Penguin Canada, which is a big publishing company, $100 million publishing company in this country, taking the genre seriously and more certainly looking at the success that they have had. So there's been this enormous growth in domestic Canadian science fiction and fantasy publishing. We have a second English language magazine, Neo-Opsis, published by the Johansons out of British Columbia. And of course we have the long-established French magazines as well, and a vigorous Francophone science fiction community. And what has been wonderful to see is how much in those 21 years, Canadian science fiction has become something that you can't dismiss, that you can't say, yeah, well, there are a couple of little publishers in Canada that maybe they need a voice. We need a voice, and we have a voice. There's a national organization, SF Canada, that will hopefully take up the reins and do the things that the Canadian region of SFWA did during its existence. When Matthew's tenure is over and that job ceases to exist, the science fiction writers of America will go back pretty much to being the science fiction and fantasy writers of America, not of North America, not of the world. And we in Canada maybe don't need to be a branch plant anymore. Maybe we are big enough and significant enough and varied enough and talented enough to merit our own national recognition of this culture. We have yet to have a Canadian science fiction book be the Canada Reads Choice from the CBC. They're now having public nominations. Nominate somebody. Nominate anybody you like from the science fiction and fantasy writers in this country. Nominate Tanya Huff, who's in the audience here tonight, previous guest of honor here. Nominate and make sure that the Canadian voices are not ignored. They aren't ignored in academia. David Hartwell was up here a couple of weeks ago when McMaster University threw the largest academic conference in the history of Canadian science fiction and fantasy academic conferences, Science Fiction Interdisciplinary Genre, which was in honor of my donation of my archives to McMaster. Academia, you go to any university in this country and they will have a science fiction course. And they often teach me, and they teach Tanya, and they teach Bob Wilson, and they teach Guy Kay, and they teach all of these wonderful writers that we have. The Academy has accepted us. Let's make sure the Canada Council for the Arts accepts us. Let's make sure the CBC doesn't lose sight of the fact that amongst the best-selling Canadian writers in this country are the Globe and Mail bestsellers, Tanya Huff, Guy Gavriel Kay, Robert J. Sawyer, and the others who appear on that list. And keep moving ahead so that when we meet in another 21 years for CanCon Mumbledy, and Farrell is on the heart-lung machine, and Jim is wheeling his oxygen around, and I'm dead. We'll all say, wow, look at how far we've come in that 21-year period. Thank you all very much.
We do have a tradition of trying to be fairly short here for the opening ceremonies, but I think we do have one other piece of business.
We do. Good evening. I'm Clifford Samuels. I am the President and Awards Administrator for the Aurora Awards. This weekend is really special. Every year, Canvention moves from the west to the east and back and forth. Well, this year, it of course is here. For those who aren't familiar with it, Canvention is the Canadian National Science Fiction Convention. We give out what we call the Aurora Awards. The awards started in Halifax back in 1980, and they originally started as giving Lifetime Achievement Awards, but that kind of dwindled, and they started doing things like giving awards to novels and short stories and minor things. Well, one of the things this year we're doing is giving another Lifetime Achievement Award. This year, it's to Robert J. Sawyer. No, the award is actually not for Rob's writing, even though he has won just a few awards for that. But we're giving it to him for his dedication to the genre, the promotion of science fiction, the promotion of fans, the promotion of new writers. Rob has mentored so many new writers and expanded the field that a lot of people who are in the field today know him and respect his opinions and come to him if they need help. And he has always been there to give help, and we always appreciate that. The other thing that we're doing, of course, we will be presenting Rob with this award on Sunday at an awards banquet at around 12 o'clock. There is, for those who have their tickets or will be picking their tickets up tomorrow, that will be earlier, and then we're going to have everybody is welcome to join us. We'll be doing Rob's award. We'll be giving out 11 Aurora Awards, starting from the fan awards that we have from Fan Organizational and FILT, which is the music awards, all the way up to the novels. And this year our new category, Young Adult. We've never had so many people nominate and vote for the awards this year. We had over 250 people voting for the awards, which is a huge increase, about a 30% increase over last year. The novel category, which I'll mention just as that one, had more votes this year than we had the entire voting last year, which is pretty impressive. The other thing that we'll be doing this year is we're going to be discussing at our annual general meeting, which is on tomorrow morning, early I'm afraid, is the creation of a Canadian Science Fiction Hall of Fame. This Hall of Fame will be not just for science fiction, but for fantasy as well. It's something that we're thinking of creating. We want everybody's input. We'll have a panel on Saturday on this to talk about how we want to do it. It's going to be a juried award, and we want to talk more about how we want to set this up. But it's something really new and really special. And it's something that I think is time in Canada to have this. The other thing is, I was also on the board of directors for Calgary's World Fantasy in 2008. And we were very fortunate. We had a large convention. We made a few extra dollars. And for that, we'd like to present a check to CanCon from Calgary's World Fantasy.
Well, thank you very much. Unless anybody else has any other business, I guess we'll declare this convention started.